Alright guys, Gemini back with another video, and in this video today I'm going to be discussing the Rock and Roll Express to the WWE Hall of Fame in 2017. Um, I didn't see this coming. I don't know if anyone saw it coming. Hall of Famers, the Rock and Roll Express. I mean, Were they the original Rockers? Yeah, they were. Were they original? Were they Sean and Marty before Sean and Marty? Yeah, they were. Were they super popular wherever they went? And were they a very good team? And in Memphis, and were they a great team in the NWA? Yeah, they were. And they had a great feud with the Midnight Express back in the day, NWA with Jim Cornette and all that stuff. I'm not gonna take anything away from the Rock and Roll Express. I'm not gonna take a single solitary thing away from them. Okay, but they were great, and they were very popular with the crowd. The girls loved them, the guys loved them, and they were good wrestlers. And they were smaller and athletic and dynamic, and they very, very creative in the ring with what they did. And they had a good gimmick, and rock and roll was what was in the late 70s, early 80s when they broke in. Maybe they broke it in the early 70s. I've never been the biggest rock and roll express fan. I just was never all that into them. I don't know. I was more on the Midnight Express bandwagon. I kind of respected Sweet Stan Lane and Dennis Condrey. I kind of always cheered for them versus the Rock and Roll Express. Hall of Famers. I don't know. It just seems like to me this is like Triple H's pick. Triple H picked them, and I think there's some other notable tag teams that could have gone in ahead of them. I can name some tag teams right off the top of my head who I'd rather see in the WWE Hall of Fame. Fabulous Rougeau brothers, British Bulldogs, Demolition. Trying to think about who else could have been. There's got to be some. You could have inducted the Mega Powers, Hogan and Savage. There's a lot of legendary tag teams that could have gone in before the Rock and Roll Express. The Outsiders is a team. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Steiner Brothers. Head Shrinkers. I know Rikishi's in it. Head Shrinkers were a great tag team. I'm trying to think about all the great tag teams that came from back in the day. There's a lot. Heart Foundation. And this isn't me bagging on the Rock and Roll Express. I'm just naming some other teams that I could have seen in there. I'm trying to think about what other tag teams could have been in there. I didn't really prepare for this video. You could have put the Midnight Express in. They were equal to the Rock and Roll Express, I thought. Now, my buddy Muda pointed out something that he thought that the Rock and Roll Express made the Midnight Express. I'm not 100% sure on that. I just remember watching some Rock and Roll Express back in the day, and they were very popular with the crowd. Let's see what other tag teams could have been in. This is tough. There's been some really, really good tag teams. I would have to get out that 50 tag teams DVD to see it, but I put some good ones out there. Bulldogs, for sure. Brett and Owen, they could have been a tag team, and they were a great tag team. We could have got them in, and at least Owen would have had his ticket to the Hall of Fame. I told you about Outsiders. Quebecers were a great tag team. Money Inc. was a great tag team. Natural Disasters were a great tag team. I think all these teams are pretty much equal to... Powers of Pain were a great tag team. I think all these teams were pretty much equal to the Rock and Roll Express. I don't really understand what was so fantastic about these guys to be Hall of Fame worthy. I thought they were okay. I thought they were just good looking and they got good reactions and stuff. But yeah, you could do the Rockers. I think the Rockers were a more popular version of the Rock and Roll Express. But yeah, Demolition. What's the matter with Demolition? They were the World Tag Team Champions, 3 times? Shoot, you could even put a Colossal Connection in there with Haku and Andre. At least that would have been cool to see Haku up there. And Andre would have gotten the Hall of Fame for the second time. I'm not 100% sold on Rock and Roll Express when there's been a lot of other great tag teams. I know you had to pick one. These guys weren't better than Demolition. They weren't more popular than Demolition. They were equal to the Midnight Express. They weren't. I mean, I'd like to see the Mega Powers, Hogan and Savage, going as a team. You know, Hogan can do the induction because Savage isn't with us, but yeah, I'd like to see Demolition get in there. It's all right, but I don't think a lot of fans are going to remember these guys. I barely remember them, so it's going to be real quiet. It'll be like a Larry Zbyszko type thing when they get in. Just some quick thoughts on the Rock and Roll Express. Leave your comments below. It's not that I don't respect them, but there is some other great teams. Thank you.